crashing out at work. Now, that's actually what we're talking about today. And normally we don't give such a distinct preview, but we're clear communicators here. But have you all ever crashed out at work or seen someone crash out?
Oh, God. Yes and yes.
Right. Ditto.
So I remember the first time I really saw someone crash out at work, or heard them more notably. So the year was 2004. And this is when I was not HR or lawyer me, but when I was sales me. And so, like a lot of companies and teams, we had a Monday meeting where we'd gather and talk about our sales forecast for the week and all of our pipeline. But we were traveling all over the country. And so people would dial in by phone. And so if you were in the office, you'd gather in the office. Other people would be on that big, what was that, like office, the conference room speakerphone that looked like a little spaceship.
Telecom.
Right. Okay. So we were going around, and every team has all sorts of personalities. On a sales team, it tends to be people that are chatty and things like that. But there was a guy on our sales team who was like very, very, very reserved and quiet. And like almost to the point when they give the forecast, you'd kind of be like, okay, like, how are you in sales meetings? Like, how does this conversation work? And different styles can work, but he was so mild-mannered and quiet. And so one day we went around and he gave his forecast and, I don't know, maybe this will come in. Hopefully, a lot of hopes and wishes and dreams, which is not what you want to say on a sales forecast call, but okay. And the manager's fine, whatever, move on. So right as the next person was getting ready to speak, all of a sudden you heard, fudge, but not the udge. 100, scream out of 100. And we were all, and I was one of the people in the room. And so I was like, sorry. And so our boss like, I'm sorry, excuse me. And you were like, burr, burr, burr. Is everything okay? And this guy said, oh no. Mild-mannered guy said, oh no, oh sorry. Somebody was just about to cut me off. And so, no, sorry, I'll go on mute. And I just remember, I think after the call ended, those that were in the room, the sales manager, of course, because you can't talk in front of people, you got to talk behind their back, even in the workplace, that was like, ooh, we could probably use some of that energy more in the sales meetings than that. But like, it's kind of funny on occasions when you see someone and you think you really know them at work and they have a whole other side of them. So that was one of the first times that I saw someone crash out. Luckily, I was not in an HR or legal role, so I didn't have to do anything about it.
Thank God, right?
They almost literally crashed. They could have.
Yeah, and so they come almost, and like we're like, no, don't go on mute. Are you okay? Like,
right.
Unmute. I'm fine. I'm back to mute. Like, okay. Sally, do you want to go with your forecasting? Sally's like, awkward joke. Yep. Anyway, but like the levels of screams. So yeah, there we go. If I were in legal or HR, the sales manager would have called, been like, do we need to write this person up for screaming? That's the trailing work that you have. But I don't know what happened.
Was he really driving?
I mean,
you think? Or was he just forgetful with his mute button? And then he had to make something up real quick.
Now you're making me think of this in a whole different way. This is really...
like, did you hear beeps? Did you hear skids? Did you hear, like, was the air, like the car noise?
Did not hear. No skids. No skids, no beeps. Like if it's one of those radio contests of like, what's this sound, for 500, like hand hitting steering wheel or table or something. Like, that's interesting. Maybe it was like the worst kind of critical self-talk. I mean, all of us, at some point in time, I'm sure, have like, you say something at work or you do, and you think to yourself like, oh, why did I say it that way? Maybe his was to yell that at himself. Dang, Leigh, I never thought of it that way. I need to look him up on LinkedIn, send him a DM.
That poor man probably goes to bed at night and like remembers that and like is mortified. And then if you LinkedIn message
come on.
him, be like, people do remember, damn it.
Bring him on the show. Remember that one time? Wow. Crashing out though. Gosh.
If you work in HR, you want fewer headaches, not more. So what if you had a bestie to help you with that? And I don't just mean the HR Besties podcast. I mean Equifax. You may be thinking, Equifax? The credit bureau? And that's what most people think. But Equifax actually has a full suite of HR solutions designed to make your life a whole lot easier. Equifax is like a cup of tea on a stressful day. But instead of calming chamomile, they help you with things that actually keep you up at night. I-9s, ACA, never-ending HR forms. It makes the whole employee experience better for your teams, including your HR teams. If just hearing words like compliance or onboarding makes your head hurt, Equifax is the bestie you didn't know you needed. They'll help you handle risks, keep you out of HR hot water, and clear clutter off your desk to get back to what really matters, supporting your people. So if you're ready to ditch the drama and create an employee experience that feels great from start to finish, give Equifax a peek. Head to Equifax.com/HR to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
No agenda, no attenda. So quickly, the rundown of the agenda today. Thank you so much for that hot goss, Ashley. Whew. I am up at bat for the Cringe Corporate Speak today, so we'll transition next to that. And then our meeting hot topic, as Ashley shared, is crashing out at work. Figuratively, emotionally, not like what's his face in the car. If he even was in the car, we don't know. But we'll talk about what to do when you're mad, angry, upset, spiraling at work, all the things, right? And maybe give some fun examples from our work experiences. Then, as always, some questions and comments at the end. How does that sound? Sounds like an agenda. All right, so Cringe Corporate Speak. I've got one today, one that I use. I've used. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's on the list somewhere, but too many cooks in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all ever hear this one?
You say it.
Too many people doing something at the same time, right? So now we're just stepping all over each other and we're not actually fixing that meal. No one's eating, okay? Like, there's no food. Nothing's being produced here because there's too many of us. It's getting convoluted, busy, confusing, who knows? But yeah, I would say, oh, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. So too many people want control, probably. Too many people are trying to lead something. Too many people are involved. Everyone's got a freaking opinion. Someone just make a damn decision and let's move forward. There's too many cooks in this damn kitchen here. It's getting hot. Y'all use this? You have?
I definitely have. I mean, my husband is actually a chef. So, I mean, I use it unironically, I guess.
I was going to say, do they use it at work unironically? That would be fun.
They probably do. I mean, for real, though, think about it. I mean, I know he gets annoyed with me if we're like both in the kitchen fixing dinner and I'm in a drawer that he needs to be in, or he has to reach over me and it's like, it's like overstimulated. And of course, like the oven fan's going on full blast.
It's loud, it's hot, all the things, right? Well, that happens in the workplace too, when too many people are freaking trying to do shit.
Yeah.
Like you're in a spreadsheet or something, you're editing things. All of a sudden there's comes somebody in, highlighted, has some highlight color, flagging in there, changing things. And you're like swiping it away. Like, don't do that. Also, it's somebody sometimes that may not have the technical capabilities to do something. And so you see your more work being created real time and you're trying to chat them and you're like, don't ignore me. I see you in there. And so I do think so. I've said it. And I think it's like, I'm all about getting input and feedback and like making decisions, not based on one, but it's like when people are really all trying to decide the same thing, or it can be too much.
Absolutely. There's just too many cooks in the freaking kitchen. Oh, just make the meal, somebody. Damn, Well, if you have never used that, I challenge you to use it today and annoy the shit out of your coworkers. They'll be like, what? What? You've never said that. Gosh, maybe they'll crash out listening to your annoying ass. Transitioning to the hot topic of the meeting today, crashing out at work. Have y'all ever crashed out at work? What did that look like?
I'm like, for sure, but it was probably way more chill than like I'm imagining. Because I actually posted like a couple weeks ago on Humorous Resources a video of a lady that got fired after she set up the breakfast. Leigh, I think you sent it to me, the breakfast buffet at the hotel.
Yes. Yeah, that's a crash out.
And she goes into the breakfast buffet and she just destroys. I'm talking coffee, juice, cereal all over the floor of the hotel. There's guests in there eating too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a legit crash out.
Yeah.
I think I've crashed out, but probably more quietly. Like I either closed my office door or maybe I was working from home and I decided to scream or go for a hot girl walk.
Mm-hmm.
I fairly recently learned what crash out really means. Like my kids are 11 and 14. And so they're like really in the YouTube vernacular.
Oh, did you look it up? Define it for everybody, because that's a fair point. People are like, what the hell does that even mean?
Let me look it up.
You're the oracle.
It's like the 90s kids going postal.
Because, yeah, not so PC.
It's like an emotional outburst or impulsive behavior, often triggered by feeling overwhelmed or stressed. My kids didn't say that, but I'd probably say that. I mean, let me look at this. Have I ever had an emotional outburst or impulsive behavior? Probably more on the impulsive behavior, but what I often do is I write an email to myself, and sometimes or a draft email to myself. Like,
oh, that's good. That's good.
certainly I have cried at work. I don't think I've ever yelled. I've never yelled, but I've cried at work. But my impulsive behavior would be like, would be a keyboard warrior and write that out. But I learned from the time that I sent the like email subject lines email of like, top 10 lines to get someone to open an email to CFOs. That if you haven't heard that episode, those were all not HR approved. But I learned from that point in time to be really judicious with your work email. And so I may go to my personal email and just write myself an email and delete it later. Think about if I want to send a version of it. But that's my version of impulsive behavior.
That sounds healthy, actually.
Yeah, that would be a piece of advice I would give to someone is pull up an email. Don't put anyone in the subject line in case you accidentally send that shit, but type your little heart away and vent, even if you're directing it at that person or you're just venting in general. I mean, I think that's great advice that I've used and it's helped me. Even talking to like a trusted coworker friend, like we're talking about your work bestie here. We're not talking about some random colleague that you guys sometimes eat lunch together. Someone that you could truly be like, listen to this fucking shit Glenn did. It's always Glenn.
Yeah. No, I've definitely crashed out at work before. It's rare. I'm pretty controlled. I'm like that cool cucumber person under pressure. Love the pressure in a way. I've shared that less than a handful of times I've been really mad at work. One, I had to walk out. Remember, I had to like get up when that ops leader suspended that salaried person without pay. Like, how are we even going to do that in the payroll system? I was so angry, didn't even consult me. Okay, you're going to suspend a director level salaried? What? Okay, that was one. I had to walk out. I was so angry. Then there was one I got threw under the bus by another ops leader. There's a theme here. Ops leaders. That's when I growled. Remember, I growled at him. That worked. That scared the shit out of him. There's another angry one I haven't shared with y'all before, but But I have been like so overwhelmed before. I'll never forget this moment. I was working an acquisition, and so we were integrating the business in to a way bigger business. So $4 billion purchase, bringing it in. And I'm leading on the people side. And I had like over 600 actions I needed to take within HR to like complete that portion of the integration, right? And I love it. I mean, I love like giving me the messiest project. Fantastic. I remember one day I was so just overwhelmed. We didn't call it crashing out then, but I'm sitting in my office. I'm looking at this spreadsheet of like what to do next. And I was so overwhelmed that I almost like blacked out. Right. I mean, I went numb and I just leaned back in my chair. This is the only time this has ever happened to me in my career. It was crazy. I couldn't even move. Then it was probably like 30 minutes later. I'm not kidding. There was like an orange on my desk. I reached for this orange. I start unpeeling it. I like eat an orange. Like it was like weird. I like went into like a different state. It was crazy. So I consider that crashing out. I was comatose. I was so overwhelmed. And then one other time I went to my car and screamed. That was nice. That was a different job, but I'd never done that before, but I highly recommend it, especially if you always get to work late. So, you're parked in like the last spot in the parking lot. No one can hear your ass and shit, like you just hang out in your car. I put some music up on high and I just screamed, but yeah, I would consider that a crash out just from being so stressed out. Yeah, I've crashed out at work before, but I don't think ever like publicly. I haven't had that joy.
The theme often is there's a lot of things you can do privately, just not doing it publicly because it can stick with you. And sometimes you can't control it. And that's a whole other issue. And you need to have you take leave, have those. And just know that sometimes people think, oh, I can never recover from this. I can't. And the truth is, like, as hard as those things are, and you never have to share details, but also addressing it to the extent that you feel comfortable when you come back and just saying, I just had a really human moment and I appreciate the grace. Like, because people do. Like, anything happens at work, people talk about things, but people won't remember or judge you, and more people will be able to relate to that than not. But if you are in that moment and you feel stressed, I think saying, if something's really bugging you in the moment, you're like, ooh, just saying, you know what? I want to be able to respond and not react. There's a real difference between how you react and how you respond. And responding takes some time. And however you're going to react is totally natural. And I don't even think you need to think about controlling that. But it's how you visibly and publicly respond that, especially as we've talked about things like owning your career and keeping your job and getting promoted, being able to, regardless of your position, but often, especially if you're a leader, the way that you visibly can take situations and just, and some of that's telling yourself, like, things will be okay. Like, Leigh, you got through that. Like, you got through that project. And sometimes that's going to mean like things have to push. You're going to have to bring more people in. Like, it doesn't always like magically happen in the 20-minute blackout period, but you'll be able to get things. And so like having that mantra for yourself of like, I'll get through this sometimes can help in those stickier moments.
Yeah. Like, take a play out of my book. In walking out of the room, excusing yourself, use Ashley's phrase there, which I think is really profound and meaningful of, hey, I want to actually respond and not react. So I'm going to excuse myself. You have the free will to do that. I know we all get so upset and things happen in a moment, but even if you don't have to be that eloquent, just stand up and walk out, right? Because it's true that crashing out big time in the workplace, I mean, it looks uncontrolled and it can be scary for you. Of course, you're going through it, whatever it is, but to others too. You know what I mean? So it depends on how bad this is or how much support you need. We want to get to the point where we're not crashing out at work and, we have the support system and internal, external therapy, whatever it is, to get through these things. But it happens. But just know you can walk out of that room. And that might be the smarter play. And go and breathe, meditate, whatever you need to do, cope, do your hot girl walk around the block at work, whatever it is, go bitch to the bestie. But you can excuse yourself. You don't have to sit there and suffer. And that is actually a scarier play, especially if it's someone that is like, like pissing you off and they're like that ops leader who totally screwed up. That was way scarier, me stepping out, holy shit, than if I would have actually replied in the moment angry. Just saying.
Will AI replace people? Companies leading the way are asking a different question. How can AI make our people even better? That's where Lattice comes in. It's the first comprehensive HR platform where people and AI succeed together. It helps every employee grow faster, every manager lead more effectively, and every company unlock their people's full potential. From performance management that actually drives results to effortless HR administration, Lattice is designed to develop and inspire your people, not just manage them. When your performance reviews help people improve, when your managers get the insights they need to coach effectively, and when your HR operations free up time for what really matters, that's when you see real business impact. Stop settling for HR tools that hold your team back. Build a future where technology doesn't replace people but actually elevates them. No regrets. Ready to see the power of people and AI? Visit lattice.com/no regrets. That's LATTICE.com/no regrets.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. As kids get older, some parts of parenting get easier, like you can finally have real conversations, they can grab their own snacks, they might even pick up after themselves. I mean, not mine, of course. But some things never get easier, like teaching them about money. The truth is, kids won't truly understand money management until they get hands on experience. And that's where Greenlight comes in. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families. Parents can send money to their kids and keep an eye on what kids are spending and saving, while kids and teens build money confidence with lifelong financial literacy skills. With the Greenlight app, kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely thanks to games that teach money skills in a fun, accessible way. The Greenlight app also includes a chores feature where you can set up a one time or reoccurring chore customized to your family's needs and then reward your kids with an allowance for a job well done. We recently started doing this with our 12-year-old, and y'all, he's actually doing the things before I have to like go into mom nag mode. It's amazing. Money motivates y'all. Millions of parents and kids are learning about money with Greenlight. It's that easy. It's a convenient way for parents to raise financially smart kids and families to navigate life together. Maybe that's why millions of parents trust and kids love learning about money on Greenlight, the number one family finance and safety act. Don't wait to teach your kids real world money skills. Start your risk free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/besties. That's greenlight.com/besties to get started. Greenlight.com/besties.
Jamie, what do you do if you're not the person crashing out? Let's say that someone else is crashing out and you've seen that and that person's crashing out. What do you do?
In HR, I think you see it probably more than off, especially if you're like a safe person in HR, right? The first thing you do not do is tell that person to calm down.
Mm-hmm. Don't.
I mean, I am kidding, but I think also what kind of crash out is it? You know what I mean? Is it someone who is angry? Are they crying? But I mean, I can think of a few that typically it was people coming to my office and they're just visibly in tears. So I literally sit with them, hand them a box of tissues, and I'll say, when you're ready, you tell me, even if you're not ready. And then I usually always ask too, as an HR professional, is this something I need to document or do you just want to vent? And, they would say, I actually don't want to say anything. I just wanted to come in here and sit for a minute. Maybe I needed to get off the floor. This is my space spot. I could pretend like I was coming to get candy because I always had candy in my office. I could come get candy and cry in front of you and it would be okay. It really depends on the level of crash out. Like, obviously, if the video I'm referring to on my page where the poor lady is literally, I mean, at some point you have to like forcefully remove that person, right? I mean, maybe not forcefully, that wasn't the right word, but that person needs to be removed from premises. And, there have been those times where people have been terminated where there's a reason that they had to be walked out. And not just by me, maybe a male member of leadership, because it was likely, because they've crashed out prior, that it was likely they were going to crash out again. Or maybe, crash out, I'm using in the sense of a joke, but it's kind of just knowing the level of crash out and understanding your employees and what a crash out looks like for them.
I think we do have the benefit in HR is like we can feel the climate all the time within the organization. We know the mood. Mm-hmm. We know what's going on. So I think that we can see things coming. So, I've been in meetings where things are getting heightened. Well, yeah, we just had bad financials. We just had this, that, whatever, right? Like it's the morale is low and people are getting frustrated. And I think it's totally appropriate to say, is everyone okay? Like, can we pause this meeting? Let's take a break. Like, let's step away. How about this is enough for today? Like let's come back and revisit. Let's just go ahead and like disperse. Like whatever you have to say, like when you feel like crash outs are coming, your own or others or all of the above, like, that it's okay to step away and everyone just take a break, definitely do that. That's going to be helpful for others because you can spot that in your colleagues. you can see those things coming. So as much as you can, kind of be that voice before it gets to that level.
I think that's so important because there's going to be all sorts of different relationships at work. And sometimes, yeah, I agree. HR, we have an appreciation depending on the HR department. You have training. Often you're like, I haven't gotten any training, but I've kind of figured things out along the way because you see more. And so you see more, you learn more. Managers on their team, they often don't have a toleration for emotions because they're thinking how this impacts them, or colleagues don't know what to do. And so the biggest thing sometimes is just knowing, I agree to Jamie's point of not saying, calm down. And you may be saying that because you're trying to help them, but some of the most helpful things sometimes can just be to say, I'm here. I am here for you. Put everything to the side. I'm here for whatever you need. Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to, like I said, do you need time alone? Do you need these things? Just asking some of those general questions. They seem very basic. Those are things that you can say, but this is one of those situations that you don't have to be a manager to be a leader in the workplace, and you don't have to be on someone's team to recognize someone as a human and what they're going through. I mean, sometimes people's crash outs and things like that, and we use the term as like, jokingly, or because we're, I'm trying to reverse age myself. So that's what I'm really trying to do. But sometimes it's work related, and that can be harder if you're like, I don't know how this is going to resolve. And like, you don't have to deal with everything at once, but sometimes it's people going through very real things that happen. I mean, some of the hardest things in my life, I mean, I can visualize being 24 years old and getting a call, 23 years old, getting a call that, my mom had been diagnosed with a very serious illness at work, and my immediate thought being, don't cry at work, because everyone says don't cry at work. And having a colleague named Josh, who I'm still friends with years later, come over and just like, I'm here for you and these things. And like, I'm here, it's totally okay. And like, I will never forget that. And it's nothing extraordinary, but just knowing you may not know what to do when someone's like crying or has emotions. You may not know the reason for it. You may not need to know the reason for it. But when you can like put things aside and your discomfort and just show up for that person and say, put everything else aside. I'm here for you for whatever you need. Sometimes those, there's no magic words in anything you do, but those words can be like water in the desert for people that need to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I would say that there is a greater responsibility of leaders to be mindful of their crash outs. There just is, because people can feel so unsafe when a leader is crashing out. And I think it is so impactful when a leader says, you know what, I'm having a rough day today. I'm going to step away for a couple days. I'll be back on Monday. I need to take care of some things, or myself, or whatever, right? I mean, or excuse themselves or whatever before they have a huge kind of, we'll say crash out, like you said, to reverse age ourselves, but emotional outburst, like just raw, like anger, whatever it is, the stress piling up and getting the best of them, because people, their team, I mean, they're seeing this, and yes, we are all human, but it can make people feel very, very unsafe, right? Again, depending on what it is in the context, but I've had a leader crash out before, and I was shaking witnessing it. I'll just never forget that feeling. I felt so unsafe. I almost had to get up and, I should have gotten up and left, I was just gross, So just make sure we're not taking it out on our team members, especially our direct reports, when it's stressful and negative and anger. Let's attack the issues and not each other.
Fall is in full swing, and it's the perfect time to refresh your wardrobe with pieces that feel as good as they look. Luckily, Quince makes it easy to look polished, stay warm, and save big without compromising on quality. Quince has all the elevated essentials for fall. Think 100% Mongolian cashmere from $50, washable silk tops and skirts, and perfectly tailored denim, all at prices that feel too good to be true. In fact, my favorite piece for this fall, you got it, those Mongolian cashmere sweaters. Oh, they are such a staple. Keep it classic and cozy this fall with long-lasting staples from Quince. Go to quince.com/HRBesties for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/HRBesties to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/HRBesties.
Okay, besties, I need you to picture this. You're in another meeting, you're presenting turnover data and the Pulse survey results you just spent 2 weeks compiling, and you get the question from leadership. You know the one, how does our turnover compare to the industry? And you get that pit in your stomach. But no worries, you've got HR Bench. It's the people analytics tool that empowers all HR professionals to be data-driven and strategic partners to your business. HR Bench connects to all of your existing HR tools like your HRIS, ATS, survey tool, payroll, and any other tool you can throw at them. Then in a few clicks, you have 45 plus metrics instantly populated and formatted into a presentation ready dashboard, all benchmarked against your industry and your company size. You now have a great story to present to leadership about the current metrics like turnover, retention, hiring trends, span of control, diversity metrics. You can even talk about how you compare. Look, I'm a data nerd. I love this stuff. Book a demo today at hrbench.com. They'll pull a custom benchmark report just for you for free with your data. Mention HR Besties when you book, and you'll even get 10% off an annual subscription. So go to hrbench.com and level up your strategic discussions today.
Should we pivot into some questions and comments? What do we got?
I would just say it's not weak to feel something at work. It's okay to have feelings, be upset, to cry. You know, I know that we've been told these things, right? And these things we can't do. But full stop, you're allowed to feel every feeling, every emotion that you have. You might have to, if you're someone who is embarrassed by that, you might need to go to your office or your car or the bathroom. It's okay to like also pause and process that. Protect your peace, like even at work.
Not a quick question, but a comment on that. Totally agree, Jamie. Like we bring our whole selves to work. I think that, again, when it carries over to like anger or, you know, like kind of the negatives externally facing, crashing out, again, do your best to remember that, hey, other people, you know, are experiencing you too, you know? So as much as we can, let's stay safe and respectful.
I have a question. Speaking of crash out, like a term that's like a pop culture term. Oh, maybe that's a terrible slang, whatever. Ugh. What's a term that you've learned at some point recently, like learned what that means? That's like a slang term.
I mean, you know, I have a 12-year-old, so he says things like got, riz. But I mean, those were kind of last year. Skibbity, you know what I mean?
What's got?
Butt, like a big butt.
Oh, giat.
Yeah.
In Georgia, we pronounce it giat, which I've learned, which...
Oh, we say yeah.
Yeah.
What? I don't even know that. Yeah. I don't got a yacht.
Well, you know, I will say last night, my stepson and his girlfriend were over and they kept saying 6'7", and I still have not looked up what that means, but apparently it's a TikTok thing.
Well, I'm going to look it up.
They said it like 40 times last night.
It's a song's beat drop.
Oh, okay. They kept saying 6'7", and then I'd go 8 just to be silly.
People took it from LaMelo Ball's height and turned it into numbers with a meme. Okay. Like, I mean, the stretches people get to on these things are really like kids have the creativity. Leigh, do you have any?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I'm just constantly making up my own shit though, you know, so.
I know.
I have one, and this is why it is because
Cooks in the kitchen.
No, it is. Yeah, it's so recently, or within the last like couple months, Rhode Island became the first state in the U.S. to grant required accommodations for women going through symptoms of menopause. And at a high level, it's just like the ADA, kind of. It's like ADA accommodations. You know, menopause on its own isn't covered by the ADA, so that's why it's notable. And like, of course, I get these like DMs, and I'm like, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice. But like, oh, here's this explanation. New York has like a potential bill for, I think, same with like providing support for those going through menopause or menstruation. And people are like, and I'm like, for those that may not know what that can look like at work, here's an actual like Department of Labor resource guide that's actually pretty helpful government document, pretty practical for a government document. But anyway, I got messages, and one was like something Shark Week. And I was like,
you hadn't heard that?
Are you talking about Shark Week from the Discovery Channel? Or are you?
As the period.
I'd never heard that in my life. And
Oh my gosh.
So
That's like decades old.
I mean, clearly
Since they started Shark Week.
Yeah, since they started Shark Week. And so I'd never heard this. So now, and I had a boss that used to call this doublet. And I don't know if that's like the official term for it or what, but like when you learn a word, then you see and hear it different places. Like now I keep seeing it in that reference. And I feel so cool because I know, I have it all in there. So there we are. Anyway, so if those that haven't heard that, now you've learned that term. But I'll include that as our ChatGPT prompt for this week are what are terms I may hear at work that I should probably need to know and not Google on my work laptop. So look at it on your personal device.
I'm going to read that. Yeah. I feel so out of touch. Oh, gosh. Well, besties, we wish you a non-crashy workday. How would we even say
smooth? Yeah.
Healthy? Sound, peaceful, I don't know.
Yeah, all those things. We'll come up with some slang that's the opposite of crash out, and we'll try to popularize it. So we're going to need each of you to support us in this.
Exactly. Let's not crash out and lash out. Bye, besties.
Hi, I'm Tamsin Fidel, journalist and author of How to Menopause and host of The Tamsin Show, a weekly podcast with your roadmap to midlife and beyond. We cover it all, from dating to divorce, aging to ADHD, sleep to sex, brain health to body fat, and even how perimenopause can affect your relationships. And trust me, it can. Each week, I sit down with doctors, experts, and leaders in longevity for unfiltered conversations packed with advice on everything from hormones to happiness. And of course, how to stay sane during what can be, well, let's face it, a pretty chaotic chapter of life. Think of us as your midlife survival guide. New episodes released every Wednesday. Listen now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.